Hi, I got the quote, "Ignorance is no excuse, it's the real thing," by a guy named Peter. And I agree so much with this quote because nowadays we have so much resources and so much, like we have the World Wide Web, we have the local libraries where you can look up things. We live in a very educated society versus back in the days there wasn't really means of researching and looking up certain things like that. But that's why I think that ignorance is no excuse. For me, I relate ignorance a lot to racism or discrimination because, you know, a lot of people judge certain types of people. We have a lot of hate in our society. We have a lot of stereotypes. A lot of people think that this group is this way and this group is that way. Like if you're Mexican, you're in a gang, or if you're black, you're lazy and you're stupid. But you know, like we shouldn't let those things, we shouldn't believe in those things, because we have books and histories that show that we can learn about other people's culture. If you don't know something about that culture, then you know you can look it up and research it. You know, another example is Germany. You know, a lot of people think that Germany is this fascist society because of what Hitler does, but nowadays it's just proven that, by facts, that Germany is one of the biggest democracies we have in this world. So the stereotype of Germany was not true. So if you look into history and if you look into these different races, you can learn about the beauty in every culture, and you don't have to, you know, sit there and talk about somebody else's culture just based on, you know, what you hear, what you think. No, you can actually learn about it, and you can, you know, not sound stupid when you're telling somebody, you know, oh, this person, he's black, oh, he's not going to get the job, you know, he's stupid, he's lazy. You don't have to go through that, and you don't have to go through somebody looking at you like, wow, did you really just say that? You know, does people think like that? But I do see a lot of people that think that way and that are very close-minded about people that are different from them. And I don't think that we should, and I think that we should start using, we should stop using ignorance as an excuse, because I hear that a lot, like when, you know, when somebody's performing racist acts or discriminating against somebody, you know, a person always says, well, oh, he's ignorant. You know, we should just, you know, we should eliminate that excuse, you know, you should tell them that, you know, to read on the subject, to know more about it before they start, you know, making somebody's life miserable. And I myself was a victim of racism when I was little. My mom used to always braid my hair, and I lived in Cairo, where everybody knew that we were the Sudanese family in the community. And whenever I fight with somebody, they just call me like, oh, you're black, you're dirty, you're this and that. And I would really not like that. And I would tell my mom why do we have to be black? Why are we from Africa? You know, why do I have to say that? But my mom would say, well, they just don't know. But today, a lot of people, I'm more open. I have a lot of friends that know me better, and they don't judge me the way they did when I was little and young. So, and I love to educate people about my culture, so they won't assume things about it. So just basic ideas that ignorance is no excuse, and racism, being racist is not an excuse of ignorance. Thank you.
All right, well, I'm not a big fan of using the quote as the attention device, but I do think that you did a nice job telling us your point of view early on. Tying it into a related subject is okay, and that's a good way to develop the material, which is what you did pretty effectively. I'm also a fan of a little more structure, and that seems to be a continuing theme today, that people are not working at always having a structure, and you're lucking out when you've got a good story to tell and you can find the next link in that story, and you are fine in doing that. It allows you to continue to be fluent and speak effectively to the audience and move forward during the presentation. But there's always that person who's going to run into the same problem, who, because they don't have a structure, they don't know where they're going next, they're going to get stuck. So I can't criticize you too much because it didn't create obvious problems in the presentation, except that the ideas just seem a little bit repetitive at times. But the ideas were clear, and they were tied into the theme that you were talking about. Presentation issues, we can hear you effectively. I think you've got good variety in your tone. You've got some solid indicators while you're speaking. At first, your facial expressions were a little bit limited. When you did those kind of voices of the kids that were picking on you or something like that, or somebody saying something, then you got a little bit more animated. And I thought in the second half of the speech that you seemed a little bit more involved in what you were doing and kind of participating in the speech a little bit too. Like I said, you've got good eye contact with everybody. Sometimes I think you can engage people a little bit more. You tend to step back when you're making an idea instead of stepping forward, and I think that might be a way to do that, engage people and maybe even challenge people a little bit. That doesn't mean that you're asking some question, but I don't say stare them down, but when you're talking to people, say, you know what I'm talking about? I don't know what they're all looking like when you're talking to them. It's hard for me to tell except by your expressions, and if they're all indifferent, then you got to do something to kind of get them going. I should have the camera facing both directions so I could see what's going on out here. I know some people are asleep, some are rapt attention, and some are just going, yeah, whatever. All right, you did a nice job. Thank you. All right, could some